Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. And we're doing a bit of a taste tester here. We're doing it's not previews per se, but we do have a little bit that was revealed. The Heroes is the main piece that was revealed at the Calling Singapore, Prism Advent of Thrones, and Vinsette. I think literally just Vinsette at the moment
Vinsette,
because only the Young was revealed.
where
Yeah,
is
I think
she?
only the Young
It's
was revealed.
literally
Yeah.
just Vinsette.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
only the young hero was revealed, so there's no like name
Yeah.
at the end of it
Yeah.
here. So I am joined by my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-compatriot, Rob at the bottom
Oh,
here. My name is Eric, and we're going to be talking not too much because there's not really that much out yet, but we're talk about kind of the ideas floating around, some of the cards that are available, some of the card pools they do already have
yep.
for Prism Advent of Thrones, and the we're
Yeah.
assuming that the adult
Why does
We're
Prism
going to
get
assume
the
for the
title here? She's young as
so
well.
because there's already another Prism, right? There
That
is
that makes
already
sense.
another
That makes
young
sense.
Prism.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're going to assume that even though there are two Prism titles at the
Mm-hmm.
moment, Prism Advent of Thrones, and the adult is actually not named Prism Advent of Thrones. I forgot. It's not. I forgot the name exactly what it was, but we're going to assume that for the purpose of this video, that the adult does exactly the same thing as the young hero does,
Yep.
and it's just a 4 intellect 32 health hero, as that is the trend.
Double
Half
the health.
like
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, like Riptide was
Yeah.
1938, Kano is 1530, etc., etc. Right, so we're
Well, we
starting
can
with
start
Prism
with
Advent of
Prism.
Thrones.
The ability says whenever a card with Herald in its name is put into Prism's soul during an action phase, so it could be either, right? You may search your deck for a Figment and put it into the arena and then shuffle. So Figment being a new keyword, I assume it's a keyword, right? Not capitalized, which is interesting, but it is a new, I assume, new card type. So cards will have
Yes.
multiple abilities, and then they will be a type Figment.
Yep.
Once per turn, instant ability. You you pay 2, and banish a card from Prism's Soul, and then you awaken a target Figment
It's
you
bolded.
control.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
awaken
awakening
keyword
is a
bolded
keyword
there.
as
So
well. Yeah.
it will be something probably used by various. It might be only Prism, but for now it is just a keyword. It's
That's
not
fair.
necessarily a card that only Prism uses. So
Yeah.
I think the first thing we need to kind of put out here is that this hero starts at 32 life. That is, other than Kano, is the second lowest of the game, I guess. And
Right.
Kano, the reason why Kano is at 30 life, because he does some very stupid things on your turn. Our turn,
He can
right?
swing
There's
the
a very
game.
good reason.
Well, he's literally a combo
Yeah,
deck that can swing the game into his favor, just like
he
that.
gets an extra turn. Relatively speaking, in the game, he
Right.
gets an extra turn off instant speed. So that's the reason he starts at 30, right? But Prism starting at 32 is quite low. Comparably speaking, I think 38 is what we've kind of seen before for like 19, so like Riptide, stuff like that. Is
Yeah.
what we've seen
Like
before.
small
But
advantages or slightly stronger hero powers will take off like 1 or 2 health, right? It's not going to be
mhm,
a whole 4 health here. So
yeah, so
we'll have to see what this Figment really does. In my opinion, the Figment's going to be something that's going to, well, it's obviously like a board state thing. You're going to put them onto the
yeah,
field. They're going to be maybe dormant. They might have like a small ability when they're not awakened, but
yep,
other than that, they could just be completely dormant. And then only when you awaken them do they maybe ping your opponent for arcane damage, or they can summon an
mhm,
ally, something like that. So that's kind of what I
yeah,
assume she'll do. So seems like more of a combo control, right? She's not going to be doing huge wide turns with heralds because go again is going to be kind of tough to get. We can actually talk about the weapon since I'm mentioning go again.
sure. So the
The
weapon is
Celestial
Luminaris.
Fury.
Well,
Funny how they
not the
add this
It's
like,
Luminaris at home.
yeah, they add this really strong like Celestial Fury, and then it's actually just a weaker version of Luminaris.
It's just the token, right?
But it
So the
looks
once
good.
per turn instant.
Yeah,
So you got to pay for it, which is obviously not something the original Luminaris had. But the
yeah,
original Luminaris was the majestic weapon, right? So
hmm
Iris being the token weapon. So
true.
paying 2 at instant speed, target angel attack or attack action with Herald. So angels are the kind of new card coming in. 2 of them being spoiled already: Bologna and Soraya. Soraya in Dynasty, Bologna in Dust Till Dawn.
hmm
They get go again, and this is at instant speed, which is
Yeah,
nice.
but once per turn.
Um,
So unlike the
once per
Luminaris,
turn,
it does limit
yes,
you to like
correct.
2 heralds max, right?
Yeah, you can't keep drawing cards with like Tome of Divinity or
Yeah,
like
or
Herald of Keep
erudition,
going
keep
and going.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's put
So
to an end.
this is this is a very single-dimensional weapon at the moment, right? As it
Right.
should be at the token slot. It shouldn't be, particularly amazing. I don't even know if they'll have majestic weapons in the set
Right. I think
for the
for
new
now
heroes.
we can assume not, but Monarch did, although no one played the not Luminaries, the Iris, right? I mean, it was very
Uh,
niche. It was niche.
Yeah, when Luminaris was out, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, yeah.
For Luminaris Celestial Fury here, you definitely have to be running a bunch of angels, otherwise this weapon doesn't do anything. Like you
Yeah,
still
or
have a weapon
heralds.
that doesn't attack. Yeah, you still under the illusionist creed where you don't have a weapon that actually does anything, right? It has to
Mm-hmm.
rely on other things. The other thing that we want to mention, I think figments. I think they're going to be very similar to Ash. So when you're going to
Okay.
awaken them, you might be like awakening little, like smaller angels, kind of like
Could
dragons,
be.
but maybe not with like as many effects because you paying 2 and banishing a card to awaken. That's steep. Like
Yeah.
your pitch curve, I think, is going to be pretty heavy on the yellows and blues, and I don't think that's I think that's like pretty similar to like old Prism was only running 12 to 15 reds usually,
Yeah,
as
that's
far as
true.
the old builds.
But
So I
you
think
can
instead
run
of like
blues now,
yellows, yeah,
right?
you're probably running more blues, but your yellows will probably just be like your
Like
your
you have your
yellow 4 cost
eruditions,
auras.
or the auras
Well,
as
just your
well.
auras. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like because what you could do is you could slam down cards like Ode to Wrath, and Ode to Wrath
Hmm.
gives your heralds go again. Right,
Fair
so you,
enough.
you
Yeah.
don't you don't need to use Luminaris to get heralds go again if you are using Ode. So I think some of these auras,
Hmm.
specifically Ode is the one that comes to mind, are going to be better than others, right? So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So I've
that
got a
that is
list
that's something to
of
know. So those are all the
basically
heralds
all
we
the
have so far.
heralds.
Yeah.
This is the pool of heralds that Prism will have to pick. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the really strong ones that have been played in the past with Prism will continue to be
Yes.
very good. So we have the
Yeah.
Wartune Herald, of course, one for
Nine of
seven.
yeah. 9 of War 2
Seven
for
being an
sure.
important breakpoint because Prism really wants these to hit so that you can
Yeah,
get
you
the
need to
figments
roll.
out of your deck. So heralds have to
Yeah.
hit for that to work. Erudition is going to be a very
Addition.
good one because it has dominate. So on hitting is going to be very easy with this card, unless your opponent has a 2 block armor, which is obviously going to happen. But it dominates going to be very good, I think, for this version of Prism. Another one
Sure.
that is similar is tenacity, I think, because tenacity does have a dominate keyword. So, and with the
Mhm.
higher blue count, it might be okay to pay for a 2-costed 6 attack herald with dominate
Yeah.
because you get your figment out pretty much guaranteed by attacking this with this. So it might see some play.
Yep. Protection definitely like a 9 of like
Yeah.
it's these like protection gets you such immense value because you also get the spectral shield for free. So spectral shield in this deck is gonna be more of a prevention tool. You can't swing with it like you can with
Also for
Luminaris, right?
Soraya, right? Because she requires you to
Exactly.
have a spectral shield to play her out, and Prism Advent of Thrones cannot generate them, right? Old
That
Prism
is a
was
big
able to.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can only
exactly.
awaken figments. You can't actually. I think all the angels. I don't. I think all the archangels
Oh,
are probably going to be needing to transform out of a spectral shield.
possibly.
The
Yeah.
Bologna Archangel of War. I don't remember seeing the invoke side of Bologna. I just kind of
Yeah, I think we only
assumed.
saw the attacking side, so we don't really know how to invoke her. I think.
I'm gonna assume they're all like a lot of them are gonna be the 4/4 with Ward 4 invoking out of
Yeah,
Spectral Shield, and they cost 2 to attack kind of thing, and
that's
that you
fair.
can give them go again off Luminaris. Now the problem with that is not the problem per se. It's a very expensive idea here because you are essentially because let's click on invoke right now. Like so, if you click the invoke Soraya,
Yeah.
this thing already costs 2.
Hmm.
So, and you can only have 1 in the deck. So you're going to invoke your
Yeah.
Soraya, you're going to cost 2. It's very similar to your Dominia in like scale. Like you're going to have a legendary dragon, legendary keyword dragon.
Right.
Same idea. You're going to have a legendary keyword angel. And I'm going to assume that there's probably going to be a like a toolkit kind of perspective. There's going to be a bunch of angels and the
Right.
one like you might be picking specific ones that go more with your deck. I don't know if you're going to run all of them because it's just too expensive, right? So whenever Soraya
Yeah.
attacks, you get banish a light card, deals 1 arcane to any target.
Mhm.
Pretty nice. Especially good into not just for pinging, but into like different, different summons essentially, right? Like you can
Right,
still do
because you can
arcane
target,
damage
I believe any target. Yeah, so you can
any
even
target,
target
right? So
summons, dragons, ashwings.
mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
And then Bologna is then when
I
Bologna
actually
attacks, you can
noticed.
banish a card from Soul.
Before
You
we
get a
move to
+1 on
Bologna,
all angels.
actually, I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up a fun point or a fun fact about the flavor text. Enlightened one, illuminate our path with your knowledge, that we may prevail from dusk till dawn. So Soraya is the
Hmm.
initial spoiler for Dusk Till Dawn. And Dusk Till
I
Dawn is
guess
actually
so, and nobody even
capitalized.
noticed. I
They
think
actually
people
capitalized the words here, Dusk Till Dawn, so that was interesting.
I think people were just kind of like writing this off as an afterthought, didn't know
Yeah.
Prism would be LL'd, but I think that seems kind of disingenuous to LSS, not like kind of figuring that out.
Fair, fair. But anyway, yeah,
But you are right.
funny thing in the flavor text. You were talking about bologna. Bologna. Where is she?
Bologna. So we're talking about bologna here. You can type in
Bologna.
Bologna, I guess, if
That's
you
true. I
want.
think I saw her somewhere here. Let me find her quickly. Bologna. There she
Yes,
is.
yeah, she's right there. So when she attacks, so again, the same statted line, 4/4, once per turn, action 2. So essentially, you need a blue to invoke and attack on the same turn. If you want to give it go again, that's another 2. So you got to pitch 2 blues essentially to give it go again, to summon,
Right.
attack, and give
Attack.
go again.
Assuming it
Right?
costs 2, because we don't really know how much she costs, right?
Yeah, we're assuming the invoke is 2.
Yeah.
So you need 2 blues to do all of that. Again, signaling that blue is probably a bigger portion of the deck compared to yellows, compared to like in the old Prism for Luminaris, right?
Yeah.
So here, this is kind of the toolbox aspect, right? You can just change whatever your effect is. So when Bologna attacks, so it's just the attack trigger here. So funnily enough, if it hits Spectra, it doesn't do anything.
Oh yeah.
But you may banish a card from your hero's soul. If you do, put a +1 on each angel you control. So this reminds me of like a mono white in Magic for any Magic players here. You're going like mono white tokens, and then you just +1/+1, and you're creating a bunch of like weenies, and then you're just swinging with
Yeah.
them, and you keep stacking. That kind of, it leads me to that kind of archetype. I wouldn't be surprised if Figments are creating those
Right.
like 1/1, 2/2
They could
angels.
just be very
Like,
small angels.
I have a feeling, yeah, I have a feeling those Figments are going to be like 1/1 or 2/2s or something like that, or something along those lines that just stick on the board, but they have some kind of effect, or maybe they're like life leech or something like that, and they hit and
That'd
gain
be
you
so
life.
strong.
That actually makes a whole lot of sense that he starts at 32.
Right.
That's going to be my prediction. I don't know why, but
All
that's
right.
going to be
There
my
we go.
prediction.
Prediction
That these
coming out early.
angels, these tiny angels are going to be like lifelink, like whatever keyword you want. I don't know what they're going
Right.
to use, but they're going to be like.
I don't even think
if they
there was.
hit-
I mean, Soraya didn't have a keyword for hers, did she?
No, that seems kind of broken. If you give the big angels, like, oh yeah, you just gain 4 health.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
whenever
little
Soraya
broken.
deals damage, you gain that much health. Okay, so there's no keyword
Exactly.
for it.
So
It's
I think,
just
but I
written
think this might be the theme with the new kind of angel border here, right? You wanna either get a big board and then swing to gain life. So I think those Figments are just going to be awakened for like smaller angels. That's my guess. Kind of
Okay.
like Ashwings, but like better.
They do
because
cost 2
creating
each,
Ashwings
though,
doesn't.
technically,
They
and a
might be two
soul,
twos.
so it's a little expensive. Yeah, it could be 2/2. You're right.
3
Yeah,
threes. I don't know. Well, they're
Five
going to be
fives.
something, right?
yeah.
And
It'll
maybe
be
they'll
worth
have
it
some
probably.
effect that, yeah, they might have some effect that make them more annoying to take down, right? Probably not Spectra. That would be kind of broken. But anyways, so
Yeah.
that's kind of what I think that Prism's kind of looking to do.
Higher blue, higher
toolbox
pitch
with
curve,
your
maybe some kind of
higher pitch
control
curve, more
version where
blues.
you set up your board. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe like a combo angel build and then more aggressive herald builds. Again, you probably run footsteps in that build, right, to be able to
right.
get your action point back if they're being popped. But those are the kind of things that new Prism is probably looking towards. And the negative side is I think the new Prism will be less flexible because of it, unless you add extra flexibility in your angel specifically, right? Because your Luminaris let your auras just stack, like they let your spectral shields attack, they let your auras attack, right?
Yeah.
So you can be aggressive with your heralds and then pivot on it's like Oldham. You can be aggressive when you're aggressive and defensive when you're defensive, right?
Yeah.
And you have Spectra to kind of just save your ass, right? So the new
Very
Prism
versatile.
doesn't feel like it has that versatility. So they've learned their lesson because
They toned down a little. I think that's fine, because if they made just an equally broken Prism, that might not be great for the game. I think there needs to be one that's
LLL.
a little weaker. Yeah, I mean, just let her stick around for a while and let people make fun builds with her, I guess.
Let people max rarity all of these, because these are all going to be marbles and everyone's going to cry because it's going to be so expensive. And then they have the Cold Foil Arclight that came out of the Judge packs. That deck's going to be insanely hard to max rarity now.
Okay, so
and the
Vinsette
Genesis.
is the Shadow Runeblade card, or hero we got alongside Prism, Advent of Thrones, and she is a 4 intellect, 20 health Shadow Runeblade that reads, at the start of your turn, banish a card from your hand, So they're off the bat, you have to. There's no
Must.
conditional. And if you do, create a rune chant token. So you can assume that you're going to have a rune chant token at the beginning of every turn, right? So it's kind of nice to start off with that because of the new Runegate mechanic that we'll talk about.
Sure.
And whenever you play a shadow non-attack action card, you may pay 1 health. And if you do, the next rune chant effect that would deal damage this turn can't be prevented. So it's kind of a way to like pay 1 to deal 1, right? You're kind of paying 1 for like a very hard to block rune chant. So it's it's kind of nice.
Paying 1 life. So this is kind of the first direct life interaction that we've seen from a hero. I believe I can't think of another one that interacts directly with life. I mean, the angels look like they're going to be gaining life, if anything. But,
right.
Vinsette directly using 1 life. Vinsette's weapon costs 1 life.
Yeah, we can talk about the weapon here. Flail of Agony.
Costs 1 life to do 1, and when it hits, create a rune chant, which is probably quite important for the Runegate mechanic to like create a free, like either you get a card out of them, which is kind of nice.
Isn't it weird that this doesn't have go again though? Like I was looking at this and it's you normally want to like
turn ender though.
It could be a turn ender, but you can run 2 of them, right? They're one-handed weapons. So
yeah, there might be like some kind of offhand that you'd run. I mean, it
okay,
has to be
an offhand or a second weapon that's one-handed also with go again. So yeah, I think we can assume turn ender unless you have a way to give this go again somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, okay.
There's that, and then I like the life because the next one is this one can't be prevented, which ticks off all the ward, right? So all the angels you notice have ward on them, and then anything in general. So that's a way to
pull 1 up. Archetype Sentinel,
I think Bologna. No, you could just pull up Bologna.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Archetype Sentinel. It was Bologna.
Yeah. So they all have ward 4, for example, and then. I think ward is, going to be one of those keywords that is either a very good or very bad in different situations here, right? So Vinsette's able to essentially, like at start of turn, you banish, create a rune chant, and then you pay 1, and then all you have to do is play a shadow non-attack and pay 1, and that rune chant's going to kill this angel. Because it's going to ward and essentially throw itself in front of the rune chant.
Any kind of damage will trigger the ward. And not just the single ward, but every ward ability you have, right?
Every ward ability and your spectral shields. All the spectral shields will be gone too.
Right, because every ward wants to kind of block that damage, then it realizes it can't, then it dies, and then they kind of one by one just die off, right?
It is the same idea that like if you're using these spectral shields to invoke, they should have like similar text in that regard. So Vinsette looks like it has a direct counter to that, which is nice.
Yeah.
Flail of Agony again. Yeah, I think will be some kind of offhand. I don't know what, but this is not like I'd rather run the Rosetta Thorn because it looks like Vinsette kind of does want a lot of non-attacks to trigger that first ability. So the shadow non-attack action. So she'll want a fair amount of non-attacks in general and be able to play Rosetta for now. And then possibly later on she can play Viscerize 2-hander, right? Because all you need to do is play non-attack.
The Nebula Blade?
Nebula Blade. Nebula Blade, you just have to play a non-attack, right? So not super hard. It comes in for 4, right? And then if it hits, create a rune chant. Similar idea. Like it's not that hard to do if you just up your curve a bit. So I'm interested to see what else they'll give Vinsette for the weapon here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got all of the shadow cards pulled up here. I'll show Runegate real quick since that's the new keyword that came up.
Yeah,
I think it's near the bottom in Phantom Banshee.
Phantom Banshee.
Yeah, so Runegate basically says if you control rune chants equal to or greater than the cost. So in this case, Phantom Banshee costs 3, so you have to have 3 or more rune chants on the field. You may play it from your banish zone without paying its resource cost. So it's important to note that this isn't just a discount. If you have like 1 rune chant, you'll get a 1 discount. You actually have to have, it's kind of like a gate. You got to reach that threshold, then you can get the massive discount. So getting the 1 rune chant at the beginning of your turn by banishing won't be enough. You have to have ways to generate more rune chants at least for Phantom Banshee, right? Which is tough because you can't play like multiple attacks and end on Phantom Banshee. Unless you play like a Mauvrion Skies, the hit lands with Go Again, create 3 rune chants, then you can play Phantom Banshee. So that might be a way to do it, but it seems like to play this card, you really do have to do some amount of setup because attacks do pop your rune chants, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
So
think like the key cards that we have to remember that like how what is your main condition or main way of getting cards in Banish, right? Because Chain was very easy. Shackle
yeah,
just kind of created it for you, right?
yeah.
In this
We've
particular
got.
case, you need cards like Shadow Reverser.
Yep.
I
I think
think Shadow Puppetry will be
Puppetry is going to
insanely
be
strong.
really insane because it triggers the ability to pay one resource or pay one life, I
Yep.
should say, to gain a rune
Make your
chant.
rune chant.
So that's
Yeah,
pretty
to make your
strong.
rune chant. Well, it's pay to life to make your rune chant unpreventable.
Right, I'm preventable. That's true. Yeah, yeah.
So those two cards like Howl from Beyond, very
Yep.
good shadow non-attack action.
Yeah,
And then you'll see
definitely.
cards like the
Yeah.
good, essentially the good banished blood debt cards like Ghostly Visit, a
Yeah,
nice 1 4 3 block,
we got boundings, which
and
are
then
quite good. No
I think
go again.
Rip Through Realities are pretty decent because Rip Through Reality does trigger Go Again on the arcane damage, which you should be doing
That's a
enough
good
arcane
point.
damage
Yeah, that's
with your
true.
rune chance,
Let me find it.
especially because if you make your first one unpreventable and they can't prevent that one arcane damage, Rip Through Reality is going to have Go Again, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, a couple rips in there. Riftbind, as you said, I think Riftbind will be a really big key part of the deck. I think reds and
Yeah.
blues at the very least
Yep.
will be very, very big because you are going to want a bunch of non-attack actions, right? And Riftbind does enable you to go for that game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Other cards such as like I think Moth Shrill will still be a thing, especially like reds,
Yeah.
possibly blues, because Moth Shrill is just like your bread and butter in like a Viscera deck.
I
But
wonder if
of course,
Mordred makes the cut here.
I think Morge is a little bit too much here, just
Mm-hmm.
because that Viscera itself creates rune chance. But I think that like because this first of all, Vinsette's ability is start of turn,
Yeah,
meaning you can't Mordred on the first rune chant she creates.
it's true.
Uh,
Yeah, and that's basically going
and
to be your
then
only source of rune chance unless you play some other
exactly,
cards like
you
Mauve.
need unconditional. Yeah, you need unconditional rune chant generation.
Yeah.
A very very good card I think is going to be Dimensional Gateway, which is not a card that was looked upon
Yeah.
as just Shadow Rune player. Not a card that was played all too often in Chain, but the red one especially, even the blue one to some extent,
Dimensional Gateway.
uh,
There it is.
opting three, opting three is like pretty good in general. Then you could reveal the top. If it's a Rune Blade, you deal one arcane. So again, you're kind of feeding that arcane beast here. And if
Yep.
it's Shadow, you can banish it, right? So it's a non-attack. It has Go Again.
Right.
So two things you're already kind of looking for. One, if you're playing like Rosetta, or if you're
The
playing,
Nebula.
oh my god, yeah, Nebula. I keep
Nebula
forgetting
Blade.
Nebula Blade. So it works for no matter what weapon, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get the one ping and you get the banish, so you kind of get everything you want. If it's generally going to be a Shadow Rune Blade card, you get everything, right? So I think
Yep.
Dimensional Gateway will be quite good. Mauvrian, I
Absolutely.
think Revel and Rune Blood is going to be one of those cards that I think people try to make
Mm,
work in Chain. Doesn't really work well in Chain,
yeah.
because the non-attack attack ratio wasn't that great because you kept banishing a whole bunch of cards.
Well, it's a good target
So
for the Phantom Banshee actually, or for any other Runegate
yes.
card. You might have like a 4 rune chant Runegate, or even 5.
Mhm.
Oh no, I guess you can't really do 5 that easily because you don't generate the fifth
It's
one like Viscera does.
yeah,
And also
it's
you
pretty
have to
hard. Yeah,
attack before playing the Revel, so you're mostly only gonna have 4, and then yeah. So Runegate 4 is probably the
yeah,
max you can do realistically with Revel, but could be
yeah.
really
On
strong.
one turn, and then
Yeah.
you play, and it just as you said, kind of triggers Banshee by itself. Obviously, going to be running the Banshees.
Yeah.
Sonata seems pretty good in this deck, just
Yep.
to
Triggers the ability of Vinsette. You can of course get
triggers
more
the
attack
ability.
action
No,
cards.
it's this is a Rune Blade action. I think it needs
Oh,
a
it is
shadow.
not a shadow. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's just a Rune
Double
Blade.
check. If you a shadow non-attack, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, it's shadow. So
Yeah.
Sonata still allows you to like pitch a blue, reveal 2, and get 2 more cards.
Hmm.
Like I think it'll still be good enough to make the cut.
Yeah.
Um,
Feels arcane.
and some other cards like Bounding. I like the card you had before, looking for a scrap red. I think that
Oh,
is a
that's
very good
right.
way to
Yeah, this is
extend
an
the chain.
interesting one that came up because you can talk about it. You already brought it up.
Yeah, it's similar to like why you played an Azuri in that one particular build, because a lot of your blue stealth cards they come in for 1 and you use them for either pitch or blocking anyways.
Right.
So same idea, you have that kind of curve because the Shadow Runeblade cards are just as baseline shit as the stealth cards
Yeah.
because they're not
But
really meant for
yeah,
value trading.
you
They
can
are
play
meant
them
for
from
like
Banish Zone.
you
Exactly.
can play them for Banish. So we're looking at things like Blue Bounding, Blue Riftbind. These are the cards that you'll be able to
Yeah. I
banish
mean,
and actually get even more value because of looking for a scrap, right?
yeah.
Because you can play them from Banish.
Yeah.
So it leads to you could block with it, then you can get them into the Banish with through scrap,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
It's
early
pretty ideal.
game, your
So
opponent attacks you, block with Riftbind blue. It's in there to set up for looking for a scrap, and then looking for a
yeah,
scrap, banish it, gains +1, so it's a 5 attack, go again, which is quite good.
yeah,
And then you can just play Riftbind out of your banish zone. A few more damage. It becomes like a almost like a 1 for 8, 1 for 9 potentially. Or I guess it'd be two for 8, 2 for 9. It's pretty strong.
it depends on it depends on the rest of your hand. I
You have to
think
play
the
some
last
non-attacks.
card
Yeah.
that we can't forget is Art of War. I think
Yeah.
this card
That's just like
is
stating the
amazing in
obvious.
chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the card's amazing in chain. I do not think you could ignore it. Especially, I think it's even better in Vinsette because you have less ways of banishing. So this
Yeah.
card just able to like you pitch, you play it, and then the banish the attack action is actually a lot more valuable in Vinsette, who's not able to just put in a bunch of stuff for Shackle, right? Like this is just
Yeah.
an extra card you're able to use for Vinsette. So if you can banish in Chain, you generally just want to banish a card and just get your 2 cards, and you already have a bunch of stuff in Shackle, right?
Hmm.
But here you might want to banish a bunch of Runegate cards. Like you might want to banish your Phantom Banshee, draw 2 cards because you already have like a non-attack and Revel in hand,
Yep.
right? And so you know you'll be able to trigger it. You put it in the turn, and you're not going to take Blood Dead because you're going to be paying. It's going to be there, right? So you'll be able to
Yep.
like get that out. So I think Art of War has a little bit more utility, whereas Chain it just has raw power, right? Like it's because you could just play all your shit because you could choose +1/+1 go again, or you could choose go again banish, right? Depending on what you're trying to do. But here the utility is more that Vinsette does not at the moment have a ton of ways to get stuff and banish easily,
Yeah.
right? Like that's gonna change. There's probably gonna be Runegate 1, Runegate 2,
Runegate 1 will
just
be
because
very
Shadow.
interesting because you get the rune chant right off the bat. So you can automatically get the discount for the Runegate, right?
True.
So Runegate 1 will be
What's
pretty
the other-
important.
What's the other one that it's not read the runes? It's the 2 block that generates rune chant, like
Oh,
one rune
one-
chant for 3 turns.
1 per turn, yeah.
What's the card called?
It's the guy going like this.
It's
I could look it
I'm
up
just
quickly.
bad at the game.
It's a rune
Yeah,
chant.
there are
I'll
there are
try-
other cards people might try, like Oath of
Rune
Arknight,
chant?
Rattlebones.
What do we have here?
Um,
Let's find him because now it's bothering me. Where's the guy
It's,
going like that? Oh, Runeblood Incantation. That's the one.
Runeblood. I think this card's going to be very important.
Yeah,
Mainly
that's a
because it
good
has
point.
Go Again and just generates 3 rune chants, so it's
Mhm.
another way to generate a rune chants without.
So it
like,
makes
having to play
Runegate
weak
2.
runes.
Oh, Runegate 2 is very possible with this now. It's true.
Yeah. So I think that's also something we could possibly experiment with. Producer rune chant cards like that. I don't know. That seems a little bit
Mhm.
good in Viscera if you need it, but here it seems like kind of meh.
Yeah.
And then card like Invert Existence, stuff like that, able to trigger
Yeah.
arcane damage. But
Typical
I think
chain
there's
stuff.
going to be
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot more to work with the regular
Yeah.
spoiler season. When that comes out, we'll be obviously looking at these cards and others for different heroes and see kind of what
Absolutely.
pops up for these heroes. So with that, hope everyone like this kind of content. If you do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, from wherever you are watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.